sports fans. This is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live for another edition of Talking Sports Sunday, where we're going to be talking about the NFL playoffs, some sports gambling news that's out there, and also the NFL coaching moves. The coaching carousel has begun. Let's welcome our man Post Game of the Post Game 86 podcast to the show. How you feeling this morning, Post Game?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Excited about football and the games we got on today. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing pretty good post game, man. I had a wonderful day yesterday on Saturday. Off to a wonderful morning this morning on this Sunday. Glad to see you in here. Yesterday we saw a really good matchup against the Broncos and the Bills that went into overtime. The Broncos got some bad news. So let's tackle that question first. The Broncos defeated the Bills 33-30 in OT. Bo Nix was lost in this game and will have season-ending ankle injury surgery. Is there a new favorite to win the AFC? Or did you even have the Broncos as one of the teams who was the favorite to win the AFC?
Yeah, I thought the Broncos had a great chance to win. Um, I initially thought Jacksonville would be the team that we would be talking about when it came to the AFC Championship game, but it's Denver, and deservingly so. They lost Bo Nix. That's a huge loss. You never want to lose your starting quarterback in the playoffs, of course. Everybody knows that. But I would favor the New England uh, Texan winner right now. Um, I do think the Broncos can still make the Super Bowl. Stidham is not a terrible backup, but he's not Bo Nix, and Bo Nix wasn't playing lights out to begin with. The thing that's going to be the saving grace for the Denver Broncos is defense and special teams. If they can make plays there, their defense is just as good as everybody else's defense that's left in the AFC playoffs. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the favorite is going to be the winner of the Texans and Patriots game. So uh, sad and terrible blow for the Denver Broncos, but I will have to favor the other teams as of right now. But I still think they're in it. I don't think they're going to get blown out in the next round. Whoever plays the Broncos in the next round is going to be a great game. I just don't think they'll be the favorite.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to have to deal with, man, when your starting quarterback goes down. You're on a playoff run and you won't have your general behind the center, making things happen for you. I think this is going to put them in a pretty bad predicament. Even though Bo Nix hasn't been playing the greatest lately, I think it's going to put added pressure on their defense that is really, really good. Even though they gave up 30 points yesterday in an overtime game, they played and made some really big plays down the stretch in that game to be able to help them seal that victory. A couple of Longhorns on that team made some plays. Former Longhorns on that team made some plays. I don't think that they're going to be able to make it to the AFC, to the NFL Super Bowl, but I do believe that their defense can keep them in their next game, and hopefully, Stidham can make enough plays to help them win, which is possible. It's definitely possible. It's the NFL. When you got a great defense, you can make that happen. Their run game is going to be very, very critical in their next matchup, and hopefully, Stidham can be a game manager and they can get that win behind that really, really good defense. So I ain't counting them out, but it's going to be a lot tougher now without Bo Nix behind center. We got our man Doug in the chat. He says Stidham can spin it. Uh, Stephenville, Texas kid. Good backup. Like Poe said, Nick's tough as nails. Props to him and the speedy recovery. Hopefully, yeah, he gets better soon. Doug, good to see you in here this morning. Um, Thanks for being in here. Hopefully, you got some more to add to the show. Let's talk about that game last night. Seattle manhandled the 49ers 41-6. Is the Seahawks D or the play of Sam Darnold the reason why they got that win yesterday?
Absolutely. I mean, Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. I don't believe he's great, but the way this Seattle Seahawks team is structured, that defense is playing lights out. And more so than Sam Darnold, I believe it's the running game. My man Kenneth Walker from Michigan State, shout out to him. He'll be a free agent this upcoming offseason. But he had three touchdowns and a little bit over 100 yards. So when that running game is clicking like that, to complement that defense they got in Seattle, Seattle could very well win the Super Bowl if they play like that. If they had to put it on Sam Darnold's shoulders, even though they got great receivers with Jackson Smith and Jigba Cooper Cup and those guys, I don't like their chances. But if they're going to play like that, where their defense is lights out and their running game is clicking with Kenneth Walker, shout out to him again, I like Seattle. But if it's definitely not. You can't put the game on Sam Darnold's back and tell him to lead you to the promised land. You just can't, because he's going to make a mistake or two that's going to cost them. So the way they played San Francisco, which was San Francisco was undermanned. They had a boatload of injuries, so they really were underdog. I felt like coming into the playoffs, but I mean that defense is just playing lights out, Rob. I don't believe it's the play of Sam Darnold. I think he had his QBR was in the 60s. He barely had over 100 yards passing, and maybe that's just the game script and how the game flow was going. They didn't really need him to take off like that. But me personally, I wouldn't put my championship aspirations in the hands of Sam Darnold. I would continue to play the same ball, run the ball, be physical with that offensive line and at the line of scrimmage, and let your defense make plays, man, and they'll be in a good spot. And it's heading into the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, before I answer the question, man, hats off to Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, man. They played their hearts out there with no real help other than those two. Brock Purdy was on the run all game, man. Those defensive tackles and red edge rushers was after him all night. And Christian McCaffrey, man, for him to go out there and have his shoulder banged up and continue to play in that game, which I felt like the 49ers should have just went ahead and put him on the sideline once they was down 23 to, I think it was 23-6 or something like that. They probably didn't have the manpower to even get back in that game at that point, but to allow him, for him to want to even go out there and play some more was heroic. Hopefully, whatever's going on with his shoulder, he can get that corrected in the offseason. But is the Seahawks D or the play of Sam Darnold the reason why they won that game? Well, we know for sure it's not on the back of Sam Darnold because he only had 120 something odd yards passing or something like that. But that run game, that outside zone run game with Kenneth Walker was clicking. Those tight ends and those tackles were blocking their tails off, man, and making that outside zone work to perfection for them yesterday. I really wanted them to take Kenneth Walker out the game before he scored that last touchdown. I think at that point you had the game in hand. You don't necessarily need to have him out there. Let some other guys get some touches. But I agree with you that you can't put it on Sam Darnold. You can't rely on him to win the game for you. He has enough weapons around him for him to just manage the game. You got some really good wide receivers who are going to be open. When the play is schemed up for them to be open, just get the ball to them. Don't try to do anything heroic. Hand the ball off to Kenneth Walker and make the throws that they have designed for you to make, and you'll be all right. Because that defense is elite, man, and they got a front four that is really, really tough, especially when you have to run the football against those defensive tackles they have. First string and second string, those guys are really, really good. And they played lights out yesterday. But also the Seahawks special teams is really, really good as well. So they got a good punter in Dixon, who was out of Texas. Of course, I got to give him a shout out. And then their punt returner, I can't remember his name, but their kickoff returner and punt returner is really, really nice as well. So I think with a combination of special teams, the defense, the run game, and having those dynamic receivers on the outside who can make plays will be the key for the Seahawks going forward. They just need Sam Darnold to manage that thing. What's your thoughts on John Harbaugh becoming the head coach of the New York Giants?
Man, Rob, I thought this was a great move for the organization. John Harbaugh brings a lot of experience to a franchise like that. He's been coaching for a long time. He's had some success. Sometimes it's just time to go as far as his stint with Baltimore. But when you look at this Giants roster, and this is something that I believe SEC Sean and myself touched on, but when you look at the Giants roster, you got a guy like Jackson Dart who can be really good, and if he avoids injuries, you look at Cam Scatterbo, the running back, who can be really good if he avoids injuries. That pass rush they got for the Giants, that's a good starting place for a coach. The wide receivers they have. What's the wide receiver, my man? His Malik Neighbors.
Neighbors, yeah.
And you got a guy like Malik Neighbors, man. Those are some good chips to start off with. So I felt like pairing that young talent with John Harbaugh, a guy like John Harbaugh, that was a great move for the New York Giants. I really like that move. So with you again, when you combine that coaching, John Harbaugh and his coaching staff with that young talent, I believe the Giants could be players in the NFC East for years to come. The only concern I have with that team is the health of that team. Cam Scatterbo really plays violent football at the running back position. He really does. So my concerns would be the health, but if they're able to stay healthy, I like the pieces they have. So great hire for the Giants, and we'll see what they'll be able to do.
Yeah, let's welcome our man Donnell in the chat. He said that the Giants are back, and also our man SEC Sean, who says that Harbaugh is a great fit and he will help Dart out a lot. Now, of course, I gave Harbaugh a lot of flack about the question you gave me about him. Would I like to see him in Tennessee? And I said absolutely not. I don't want to have nothing to do with no Harbaughs. But I think this Giants he's a great fit for the Giants. For one, he's not going to be rattled by the magnitude of coaching in New York. That's not going to bother him. He's not going to be flappable. He's going to be cool there. And I think he brings a lot of experience. He's going to be really, really helpful to Dart and that whole entire organization because we know that he can coach. We know that he can put the pieces around the players that are on his roster, and we know that he's going to probably have his hands on who they draft in the future, which is going to be a really, really good start for the Giants to go with the pieces that they already have. If they can get a healthy Neighbors back next year, a healthy Cam Scatterboo, and those players that are key for them, if they can stay healthy, the Giants can be on the right track to be one of the top teams in their division. In a division that's really, really loaded with some really good quarterbacks. So they got their work cut out for them, but I think Jim Harbaugh is a good piece to get them started in New York. Let's see what comments we got down here. Yeah, I knew you was gonna rub that in, SEC Sean. Their 74-70 victory over Texas last night. He said, "Hey, Rob and Doug, 74-70, giggle. Good win, good win, good win." Thanks for being in the chat as well, SEC Sean. He also said the Knicks injury really hurt the Broncos. I believe the winner of the Texans Patriots game is the favorite in the AFC. Yeah, that's what post game said as well. So I guess y'all both on the same track. And I guess he beat you to the punch again, SEC Sean. It seems like him and post game think a lot alike, and they come out with the same comments. But here lately, post game has been dropping his first, and SEC Sean got to come in behind him. Let me get your thoughts on this question and those in the chat. It's believed that the Falcons are going to hire Kevin Stefanski, who was fired by the Browns. Good move or bad move?
Man. Yeah, man. First off, if you're in the chat, man, hit the like button for us. It helps us get out to more people. There's great content out to more people. So make sure you smash that like button. But man, the Falcons always do this, man. They always hire an unexperienced coach or a mediocre coach, and they just end up right back looking for a coach in a year or two again. So I don't understand this hire. I mean, I think Kevin Stefanski is a good offensive mind. And you got guys like Michael Penix. You got guys like Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I believe Pitts is a free agent though, but they should try to get him back. You got offensive power like that, and they got some young pieces on defense too. You think about the safety from Notre Dame. You think about those pass rushers. They got some pieces. That team could be a sleeping giant with the right head coaching hire. I don't understand why they let John Harbaugh leave Atlanta without a job. That would have been a perfect fit for them because they got just as much potential as the New York Giants, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I'm a really huge fan of Drake London, and I think he can be one of the elite receivers in the NFL. You just got to get the coaching hire right. Maybe this is a good hire. I don't believe it to be a good move. I think they should have went with uh, John Harbaugh or maybe even somebody like Mike McDaniel. Maybe, but Kevin Stefanski is a good offensive mind. I would have went in a different direction. You got a lot of good talent. You got some good chips in Atlanta. The right coaching hire would have been money for them. We'll see what happens. I'm not a huge fan of this hire, Rob.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this hire as well. I'm kind of is it Stefanski or is it the fact that the Browns organization has just been sort of trash here over the past like my lifetime? So I don't know if it's Stefanski or if it's the fact that the organization for the Cleveland Browns is just a shit show. But I don't think I would have hired him over the likes of Harbaugh. And even though I gave Harbaugh a rough time about if my Titans would get him, and even though they did interview him, and they probably shouldn't have let him get out either, I would not have hired Mike Stefanski. Okay, yeah, he's a good offensive mind. Did we see it in Cleveland? No, we saw all defense, didn't we? I don't think that I would have hired him. I don't know that he's the man for the job. He has a lot of pieces in Atlanta. And we'll find out if he's the right man for the job if we see Atlanta go and win that division, a winnable division, because they had the same record as the division winner and the runner up. So they're right there. But can they go ahead and take the next step and win that division? He has the pieces that he needs. We'll get to see if he's the coach for that job this upcoming season. Because if they don't do anything, then it's probably him. because he has players that can help him win. But I would not have hired him. If I was going to go with an offensive mind, I probably would have went with Mike McDaniel as well, who is our next question. Well, let me see if we got anything else in the chat. Oh, we got a super chat from my man SEC Sean. I'll get to that here in a second, SEC Sean, and the comment that you made about you going live later today. What's your thoughts on will Mike McDaniel land another head coaching job at one of the vacancies that we got right now in the NFL?
Yeah, I probably would have went Mike McDaniel over Stefanski. But I mean, the issue with giving Mike McDaniel the coaching job in Atlanta is he probably would be in a similar situation that he was in Miami because Kirk Cousins at this point in his career is probably not it. Michael Penix, we don't know if he will be able to stay healthy. He's been injured through college. Now he's dealing with another injury. So uh, the quarterback position is a question for the Atlanta Falcons. But if I think Atlanta should have hired Harbaugh. If I'm the Giants, I would have looked at Mike McDaniel. He's an offensive genius, given the pieces they got in New York with Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors. That would have been fireworks. I believe Mike McDaniel, he could have got the job done. And if Miami was looking for a great coaching hire, well, they let John Harbaugh leave. You might as well should have kept Mike McDaniel because it seems like they kept him until they felt like it was a coach that they wanted to hire. If you were going to fire Mike McDaniel in Miami, you probably would have fired him during the season or as soon as the season ended. They drug their feet on that. So it seems like they had their eye on somebody who became available. It looks like John Harbaugh is going to be the head coach of the Giants. So I don't know what Miami's doing, but I would definitely Mike McDaniel is an offensive genius. I definitely would have gave him a chance over Stefanski, to say the least.
Yeah, this is the guy who I would like to have seen Tennessee at least interview, but I didn't see him on their interview list. I seen the offensive coordinator, I think from Green Bay, maybe on their list, and another offensive. Well, Jim Harbaugh was on there. Stefanski was on there as well. Um, but I thought that he should have been on that list of candidates for the Tennessee Titans to hire, but he was not on that list. So I'm quite sure maybe somebody else is probably interviewing him. I definitely would like to see him coaching somewhere else again. I think he's a brilliant offensive mind. He just got to work on finding the right defensive guy who can help him defensively, and he got to get the pieces that he needs. And we all know that the quarterback is key. If you can go to a place where you got a franchise quarterback with this guy's offensive mind, he can really make some noise in the NFL, and hopefully he can make that happen. So hopefully, he'll land him another coaching vacancy, which I believe he will. I believe he will. Um,
Ron, would you like to see? Would you take him in Tennessee?
I will take him in Tennessee for sure. He's the guy that I want to see Tennessee get because I want to see Cam Ward get an offensive guy there. He just got to make a really good hire defensively with a really good defensive coordinator that has a really good defensive scheme that can fit the talent that Tennessee has on their roster. And hopefully he's a guy defensively who can spot talent in the draft and still a couple of gems that can help Tennessee defensively as well. Our man, One Tech Zaya. Welcome to One Tech Zaya. We appreciate you being in here. He said, I think McDaniel is more as an offensive coordinator than a head coach. And that could be true, too, because he's very young, and we've seen him have success in his first couple of seasons in Miami. But whenever it came down to him having to up his head coaching ability. We didn't see it so much down the stretch of his time in Miami. So you could be right and exact about that one, Texas. He might need a little bit more time to become a really, really good head coach. And maybe somebody will give him an opportunity to do that. What about Raheem Morris? What do you think about him, who was let go by the Falcons? Do you think he'll get another head coaching job at one of these vacancies?
I don't know. I don't think he'll get a job right off the bat. Maybe sometime down the line he'll get a look at. But I mean, to fire him after only 2 seasons, I believe he was only in Atlanta for 2 seasons. I think there was something going on more locker room related.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is Drake London, their best receiver, scores a touchdown. And he's kind of talking to Drake London as he's walking back to the sideline. And London just completely ignored his head coach. After he scores a touchdown, you would think they'd be celebrating and being happy. But he's ignoring his head coach as he's walking to the sideline. So I think that possibly, I'm not for sure on this, but it could have been a locker room issue. And maybe he lost the locker room, is what I'm thinking. But Raheem Morris is he knows his defense. He knows football. He's been around football for a long time. So I don't think he'll get a look this offseason, but he'll probably be a defensive coordinator. And somewhere down the line, I'm sure Raheem Morris will get another chance to be a head coach in the NFL again.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. I think he's going to land him a defensive coordinator position, which if I'm out there as a head coach and I need a defensive coordinator, I'm definitely looking at Raheem Morris. I think he needs a little bit more time coaching defensive coordinator, just getting back to doing that job first and then learning up under a really, really good head coach so that then he can go and probably be a better head coach going forward. I think he had a really good situation in Atlanta. I think he just was hit with some bad blows with his quarterback situation. Had he not had the quarterback situation, he would have been a much better head coach in Atlanta. After 2 seasons, I think that was a little bit too premature, knowing that he had the quarterback issues that he had with them being injured and then having Kirk Cousins in year one, who wasn't really getting the job done and was a little bit up and down. One minute he's lighting it up, and the next minute he's throwing 5 picks or something of that nature. So hopefully he'll land him a defensive coordinator job somewhere. But to be honest with you, I would love to see Mike McDaniel and Raheem Morris team up somewhere in some organization, and those two guys go ahead and build themselves back up to become head coaches somewhere down the line in a couple of years. I definitely would like to see that. Let's welcome my man T1 to the show. How you feeling this morning, T1?
What it do? Y'all know I be working a lot, man. I'm tired. I got the moving, and I knew we was grooving, so I popped up in the building. What's up, fellas?
Oh, not
Like,
much,
good to
man.
see
Good to
you
see
in here,
you.
man.
You've taken over Mossberg's job of having 1,500 jobs.
Man, it feel like it, but the great thing is it's starting to heat up and the ball rolling real good and things are looking really really great. So hey, I'm gonna keep on doing it because we got big plans.
We definitely have big plans, bro. And congratulations to you and what you've been doing out there with City League TV, starting to lock in some of these powerful interviews that you're going to have coming up. I'm glad you are continuing to grind, man. And I know when we first started this, you wanted to get back into doing what you were doing before we even got started. And I'm glad that you've been able to continue to stick with that, man, and doing what you do. And it's growing so much, man. I'm so proud of you, bro. Continue to do what you're doing. And you know we're always here to support you and help you in any way we can.
I appreciate you, big bro. Hey, I do be missing. I'll be missing the weekly the weekday podcast, but because before I started going super hard on this city lead, I was at least catching a couple of them. But for the past couple of weeks, I didn't. I went. I done incorporated the middle school basketball, so I went out there and got the middle school games. I did a pop up in a rec center with Barnett against Driving Park. And of course I get the girls. So I'm just trying to make sure that I can just get the whole city, because what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to do is just really basically just get kids to get excited about going to school again. So um, I'm just gonna keep on pushing, moving, and grooving. And I don't know if you seen, but God is moving, and my after school program is here. I ain't even gonna say it's coming. It's here, and that'll also come along with the summer camp. So man, God is moving. God is great, and I'm just gonna keep on working. And as y'all always say, always talking and stuff, and that's why my voice sound like it talk. Sound like it sound, because that's all I do for a living is talk.
Yeah,
Yeah, you doing really good work, T1. I done caught a few of your lives, man. It's dope.
Appreciate it, post game.
yeah. Big ups to you, bro. Big ups to you.
Appreciate the family. Hey, like I say, man, we going to big places, man. We're going to big places, and everything gonna grow. All of our podcasts, this podcast, and as this podcast grows, all of our podcasts just grow right along with it. And I'm just, man, I'm just excited about everything that we do. Not just me, that we do, because we sports heads and we talk about these sports. And I know WTP Sports Dudes gives it more than anybody, at least from around here, because we stay dropping it like it's hot.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. What do y'all think about the 3 p.m. matchup today? We get the Texans versus the Patriots. Can Houston win on the road?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you have two teams that are on fire. So this game is going to be very, very entertaining, very, very exciting. And if I could take a peek into the future with the script that they've already written out for this game, it's definitely going to come down to the wire. And I don't even know who to pick, because I have two head Buckeyes on both sides, with just going with Mike Vrabel as the coach in New England, and then CJ Stroud as the leader of that offense and that team. Man, but both of those teams have been on fire. And I think the home team might get it. Oh, don't let me forget about Trey Henderson, that's in that backfield doing big things for New England as a rookie. But man, I might have to go with the home team with this one, man. But I really feel like this game is going to be extremely exciting, extremely competitive, and it's going to be all about what playoff games are.
Yeah, man, this is a really difficult match to call. You look at the Houston Texans, I would say the best defense left in the playoffs. Them in Seattle, definitely in the AFC, they have the best defense. When we speak about CJ Stroud, man, this is a guy a few years back in the draft. I was praying that my Indianapolis Colts would be able to move up in the draft and take, because I like CJ Stroud. I think he can really play football. Uh, but this is what concerns me about the Texans. I don't think Nico Collins, their number one wide receiver, is going to play in this game. And to play a team like New England with that defense, They have a good defense as well. Not as good as the Texans, but they got a good defense. That kind of hurts the Texans. I think if their defense is able to keep that New England Patriots offense off the field, they'll be able to squeak it out. But man, this is a tough one to call. I'm gonna go with New England in this game by a field goal. I just think that Drake May is going with his ability to move around and use his legs, maybe offset some of that Texans pass rush and get the ball down the field. Maybe that's the difference, but I like the Patriots by a field goal today. I think it's going to be a tough game, a tough defensive battle. Like I said, I think Nico Collins being out this game hurts the Texans a little bit. So I'm gonna get the Patriots the nod by a field goal today.
Hey, post game, I completely forgot about Nico. So did he get cleared, or have they not said anything yet? Are they saying it's just a game day decision? Have they said any word about him?
I'm not 100% sure. The last time I saw something about this is that they were saying it looked like Nico Collins isn't going to play. Now, if he plays, if Nico Collins is able to play, I'll switch my pick and give my nod to the Texans. But if Nico is out, I'm going to stand on the New England Patriots winning by a field goal.
Yeah, like I said, I forgot all about that, and that makes a huge difference in his game. And I think for sure I'm not even for sure if he'll be 100%. So but I know CJ know how to throw that ball, but when you're missing your number one, that hurts. Dang, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if what they're saying, if he's going to play today or not from that concussion. It looked like it might be. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to play or not. It's probably going to be a game time decision from what it looks like. So hopefully he'll get to play, and that'll better the chances for the Houston Texans to probably pull out a victory over New England in New England. But I really do believe both of these teams are going to be play really, really good defense. Without Nico Collins, that sort of hurts C.J. Stroud in that offense. Hopefully, they can run the football to sort of make up for his loss. Even though he's a wide receiver, I think that if they can run the football and be able to manage the clock the way they want to, and with the defense that they have, they can possibly win this victory over them. And of course, our man One Take Zaya says that they're winning the Super Bowl. So he got them winning today, next week, and winning the Super Bowl. So hopefully,
Who got who?
One Take Zay. FanDuel
Who?
Zaya said, One Take Zay, FanDuel Zaya.
No, he said he taking who to go and win it.
The Texans.
Oh, okay. I ain't mad at that.
The Texans winning it all,
I ain't mad at that.
And they definitely can because their defense, bro. Their defense.
Yeah, that's the one thing. That's the thing that can save them. But golly, the Patriots' offense is pretty dynamic as well. The Patriots' offense has been really, really balanced this year, and able to do the things that they have to do to pull out them victories. And I think they've been pretty good at home as well.
He said he counted over 10 tackles behind the line of scrimmage for Houston against the Steelers. That's a top 5 defense in the last decade.
Yeah. True that.
And we know defense travels, so they got a really, really good chance of winning this game. It's going to be tough without Nico if Nico can't go. But we do know that that defense is going to be there and give them a chance to win it. I think that they're going to be right there. It's going to come down to the wire. But if I had to pick a team, I think the New England Patriots at home in that weather conditions will probably be the victor in this game. But I'm rooting for the Texans, though. I'm definitely rooting for a Tennessee Titan division opponent to win it all so that we can look good in that division. The Rams and the Bears at 6:30 today. It's going to be cold the way the Bears like it. Will that be an advantage in this matchup?
I believe so. I mean, anytime it's cold and your team is a little more accustomed to it than a team coming in, when LA play, they cozy and comfortable. When Chicago has played some games where they've been out there freezing already. So, when that cold get to touching on you, it just make you move a little different. But man, this is a really, really great matchup. The Rams have been looking good this year. The Bears have been the cardiac kids with comeback after comeback after comeback after comeback. And yeah, I said the Bears were going to be one and done, and they ended up pulling that thing out. And the way that they pulled it out, y'all know what I think about that. But I'm gonna stop talking about that because I'm kind of getting tired of talking about it. I'm just going to be entertained by these games that they're having. And man, I said the Bears were going to be one and done, but I don't know if this weather is going to have anything to do with stopping the Rams from getting to that Super Bowl. And like about midway, about 3/4 of the way through the season, I was starting to feel like the Rams were looking like a really, really, really good team to pick as Super Bowl champions. So they're gonna have to fight to get through this one, and I think they might make it. Give me the Rams.
Yeah. I believe the weather is going to play a factor in this game, but it doesn't have to mean that's a factor for the Bears. I think the first team to establish the run is going to win this game. Um, the Rams can. I know the Bears is a Midwest team. The weather favors them, but let's not forget the Rams got some running backs and they can run the ball with Williams and Corum. I like the fact that Devontae Adams has been reinserted into the lineup to go with Puka Nakua. Uh, and again, as I mentioned, I like the running game of the Rams. I trust Sean McVay. This Bears team is dope. It's a really good story. I think they have an extremely bright future. And I like what they've done this season, but I just think at some point their inexperience in the playoffs is going to catch up to them. And I think that happens tonight. I got the Rams in this game. I believe they'll establish the run, and then Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams is just going to be too much for this Bears secondary to handle. And under pressure, because the Rams can pressure the ball. If the Bears get behind and are in a situation where they have to drop back and throw, the Rams can get after Williams, and he will make mistakes. So I like the Rams in this game. I got it. I'll say 28-17. Give me the Rams.
Hey, post gaming, as you call out those names, what I was hearing was I was actually hearing some names that had played in Chicago. Is probably a little bit used to playing in the cold. You have who's that? You have Stafford, who he's played in Chicago. He knows what that's like. He's played in Chicago when it's freezing, and Devontae Adams, he's played there. And you got your running backs, and you got Corum, who's just played in cold weather from being
Facts.
from Michigan, and so they may have enough players who are accustomed to this cold weather, and that's why I just say in college football, you need to play cold weather games too, because you should be preparing these kids for the game at the next level in every single way. And playing in January is one of those preparation games.
Yeah, that's a really good point, T1. I'm glad you made that point because that's a really, really good point. I pick the Rams to be the team that comes out of the NFC to make it into the Super Bowl. So I'm going with the Rams in this one, even though Caleb Williams is having some heroic things happen this season. I'm glad he was able to bounce back from what he faced his first two seasons in the NFL. He's playing really good ball, but I think the Rams and McVay, I just can't go against them, man. I think that head coach knows offense to the point where he knows what he's going to be doing out there against these Bears and what their weaknesses are defensively. And I think that the weather could be an advantage. But after hearing you two, I don't think it's an advantage for the Bears. I think those players are going to be able to go out there at the height of what this thing is in this NFL playoffs and go ahead and get this win. So I'm going with the Rams. I think they're going to win 24-20. So that's the way I see this thing going. Let me ask y'all this, man.
Hey, hold up. No, real quick before you move on to something. Just a real quick one. Do y'all think anybody gonna run out there with their shirt off, acting like it ain't that cold?
Oh, for sure. You got to. You got to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure somebody will.
It wouldn't be me. Listen,
right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. I just got a Tennessee going up into the shoe flashback, and it just made me think about it.
And you see how that worked out for them, right?
Right.
We seen the NFL playoffs start last week. They're already down to the top four in each conference. We're going to get the AFC and the NFC championship games next week. In less than really 14 days, we're going to have that game. Shouldn't college football be looking at this formula because they play the same number of rounds as the college football playoffs, but they drag the college football playoffs forever? What should be done in college football to help them shorten that window, man, so that it doesn't go so long?
I mean, just get it started and keep it going. And I don't like the Monday night game. Like I don't even understand the Monday night game and why you're having it on a Monday. So we know that playoff thing is a little broken. I'm not going to call it completely broken, but first of all, they need to get that thing started immediately. Waiting and having some teams waiting over a month to play and all of that. I never liked that. Just with the regular bowl games when we would have to wait to go play in the Rose Bowl or whatever bowl we were playing in on New Year's. They need to get the game started. We know that those 12 and 13 games for some to be considered a long season, but if you're preparing to go to the NFL, it's not a long season at all. And they need to get right into those games right after the Big Ten. Well, right after the conference championship games.
100%. College football has a calendar problem, and that's something that they need to key on and fix immediately. It's ridiculous. They also need to figure out a way, I think, in my personal opinion, to get rid of the first round buys. First round buys hasn't benefited anyone. I think they're one for whatever, 1 for 8, 1 for 10, and a 1 for 8 in the last couple of years of the playoffs for teams that have buys. I think it really slowed down teams. So they definitely have a calendar problem in college football, and the NFL, like Rob just mentioned, is giving them the blueprint. There's no reason for these players and these teams to have to take these long, exaggerated breaks after their conference championship games. So the NFL is giving them the blueprint, and they need to do something about the calendar in college football.
Great. Hey, You should where the horns at? Because he should have had a couple of them horns
Hey,
with a few of them drops right there.
that's a one take Zay and Mossberg thing. I don't know nothing about how
Oh,
to
okay.
do that.
You don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to do that.
he was supposed to get some of them. However them horns go, he dropped it right there.
For sure. Donnell has a really good point right here. He says start at week 0 and the playoff break should be removed. I really do believe that the football season should move up to week 0, and that can become week 1 at the start of the football season, and then you play that thing on out. And like you said, get rid of that playoff break. I think that should definitely take place because I think we all want to see college football end by the new year or maybe that first Saturday in January. We don't want to see it going all the way to January the 19th like it's going to do this football season. And like you both said, they got a calendar problem. I think they got to get away from the old calendar and understand that, listen, if we're going to be bringing new things into existence, we got to start with fixing the calendar because you can't add new things and think you're going to add the new things on the back end. You got to fix the whole entire calendar. And I think that's something that they could do. I know that the Heisman Trophy presentation is a big thing. Somehow they're going to have to fix that in the calendar as well. But it can all be done. But they got to be willing to get away from the way the old things have been done and understand that this is a new era in college football and they need to fix that calendar. But I definitely believe that they should get away from having 10-day breaks between rounds in the bowl games. It shouldn't be 10-day breaks. You should be Saturday to Saturday, banging it out, and then having that championship game on the Saturday once it's all said and done. It should no longer be on a Monday. And I think I made a short video and someone sort of called me an idiot for saying it shouldn't be on Mondays. But
Wow.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I'm far from an idiot, that's for sure.
But that's an easy thing to speak on. Like the only football that should be played on Monday is an NFL Monday night football game. I don't want to see nobody bothering that. That should be a sacred day for football.
Yeah, I agree with y'all on that. I don't know if y'all heard or not about this gambling scandal with these lower level basketball programs where some of the athletes were point shaving. And I had something to do with gambling and that whole thing. What's y'all's thoughts on that? Because this is starting to become prevalent. Maybe it's been going on, but we're with social media and all that. Maybe we get to hear that it's happening more and more often because now it's in the spotlight. But what's y'all's thoughts on players who are playing at these universities, and oftentimes they're saying that they're telling their friends to bet on this and that because I'm going to have some impact on this game to where you can win some money gambling. What's your thoughts on that? Is it hurting gambling? Is it hurting sports? Or is it just something that is going to be part of what sports gambling is?
Man, Rob, you know me. And I believe this has been going on for a very long time and it just hasn't stopped yet. And I feel like it should come to an end with these players now. You're making money. At first they were doing it because they felt like they were getting cheated. Like, we're the ones bringing this money to this university and we ain't getting nothing but this scholarship and maybe a $500 stipend or something. So that was some of these players' ways of making money. And I truly believe that, it's going on more than this, than what's coming out. I think that this is a really, really big deal. And I think it may go on at more universities than we think. because it's just the way the game is. And sometimes when you playing a game, the only way to win is to play the game the way that they playing it. And I don't even know how you fix it, because you have to get some inside information and know that these guys are actually doing this.
100%. I know you guys remember the movie Blue Chips.
Mhm.
If anybody out there haven't seen the movie Blue Chips, that should be a mandatory watch. Um, because it's been going down like that for a long time. But the problem is these sports have partnered with these gambling sites.
Right.
So they're throwing it in our face. These kids see the same thing we see. They have access to the same apps that we have access to. So something needs to be done. That something needs to be regulated. They're throwing it in our face and they're expecting kids not to partake in this when there's money on the line, and in some cases big money. But I think it's just the way the culture is, and the world we live in today, where gambling is now in bed with sports. And for a player to gamble like that, I don't like it at all. I think they need to do something about this. I don't want to see a kid, doing situations like this. It's just a terrible look. It's a bad look. And in the NIL era, transfer portal era, they definitely need to get this under control. But it's a sad day for sports. And if you haven't caught that movie Blue Chips, check it out.
Yeah, I think Donnell has a really good point right here, where he's talking about, since these players that they're talking about at this point are players from lower level schools who aren't necessarily getting NIL deals. Donnell was saying that they're saying, cut me in or cut me out.
Yeah.
That now NIL will become more prevalent because they want the same money others are getting. So these players at these lower schools who aren't necessarily getting those big NIL deals, and they see an opportunity or somebody come to them with an opportunity, because we know it's all organized, probably ran by some organized crime here and there. So he said that these guys is probably like, listen, I can't get this NIL money. I got to try to get some money some way. And if somebody come to me with a proposition with this gambling to where I can make some money, I got to make some money, so I'm going to do it. And if that's the avenue that's being open for them, sometimes, man, money just rules, bro, and you'll do some stuff that, is against the rules in order to get to that money. And I think this is the case with these young people who are playing at schools that don't necessarily have the NIL backing that they would like, because they're at a smaller school. But I think that it's getting out of hand, man. And whenever you got gambling, there's going to be some type of organized crime behind it. And it sort of muddies the waters, man. And I hope that these young people can find a way to not get involved in that kind of stuff, because I don't want to see anybody's career or their name or their legacy get tarnished because of gambling. We see how they kept Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame for as long as they did, even though they had his freaking records and all of that kind of stuff in the Hall of Fame, just not the person.
Man, do y'all know how involved the mobs, which were the cartels before we ever heard of a cartel? The mobs of the 50s and 60s are knee deep in all and everything about gambling and making money. And not just the gambling, the banks and all of this stuff. And that's the reason why there's so much corruption with almost anything here in America that involves money. Just like the amount of money that banks take from us just to cash our checks and they're making money as we're leaving our money in a bank and in our savings and in our checkings. That bank ain't just sitting there. They're making money with it because they hustlers. So hey, you got to eat however you can eat out here, I guess. We just trying to eat the legal way.
Yeah, I'm gonna read FanDuel Zay's comment. Then I'm gonna tell you a story that I heard before about this organized gambling or crime families and stuff like that when it comes to sports betting. He said the NCAA is a joke. They know about quite a few schools that's not reporting NIL deals, but they have no method to hold people accountable. All this is killing the sport. Yeah, we definitely the NCAA, man, it is a real joke, bro. But we've been knowing that for a little while, and I would like to see conferences get together with their commissioners and maybe form the type of alliance that they need to form to start taking over at least football. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where you see a lot of the issues at within the football ranks of college football. So I would like to see them do that, man. Maybe even if they decided to appoint a head commissioner over top of the commissioners that they have in each conference. I don't know. But they need to figure something out, man, because it's starting to look like a real joke. So I remember hearing a story where Muhammad Ali was about to fight for a championship, and the mob came to him and told him that if he don't take a dive, they're going to shoot his knees out. So he goes and tells the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that because he was afraid. He said, "Hey, messenger, they talking about shoot my knees out if I don't take this dive." And the messenger told him, "They got knees too." When I heard that story, I laughed so freaking hard, man. So I don't know how much truth it is to that story, but I have heard that story before. And he said, "Man, they got knees too." I was like, "Whoa, that's gangster right there, bro."
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
That is hilarious. Is there anything else you want to add, whether it be the NFL, college football, any other sport, before we wrap up? We're just past 1 hour.
Nah, not really, man. We touched on a lot of good subjects today, man. It's a beautiful podcast. If you're in the chat, hit the like button, subscribe to the channels. We really appreciate the support.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have anything else to add either. But if you're watching this video or you watch it later on, please look at all of the channels scrolling across the bottom. You got WT for Life. You got Level Up Sports 10. You got Parlay Poe and the Blitzburg podcast. You got Post Game 86 podcast. You got City League TV on Facebook and on YouTube. You got SEC Sean. You got One Take Zaya. You got all of our channels scrolling across the bottom. Please go and ask your family and friends to subscribe to every last one of those channels. Hit the notification bell so whenever we go live, you can get notifications that we're going live because we're trying to bring you content every day. Later on today, our man SEC Sean is going to have his wife on with him, and they're going to talk about NASCAR, race car driving, and some of the perks that comes with that. And it's going to be a fabulous show this afternoon. Make sure you got your notification bell turned on because he's been dropping a lot of gems, things that we didn't know about NASCAR driving, and he's also going to have his wife on with him. I think that's going to be a beautiful show. I'm definitely going to try to tune in. Hopefully you do as well. Anything else you want to add before we go, T1?
Nah, just getting ready.
Oh, we couldn't hear you. All right, y'all. Well, Anthony Manzano, 3551. Yo, welcome to the show. Make sure you subscribe to all the channels you see scrolling across the bottom. We'll be back again at some point. Oh, he said I got a question. Question, guys. Who do you have winning the national championship tomorrow? Miami or Indiana? And do you guys have it a blowout by Indiana like most people? Post game, you want to tackle that first?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do have Indiana winning this game and winning it comfortably, but I'm different. I see it a little differently. I just think that Miami is playing really good ball. Their physicality at the line of scrimmages is going to make a difference, and I got the U pulling out this victory.
Oh wow. I'm going with the old heads, if and this isn't a boxing match where, it's a 48 year old Larry Holmes going against a 35-year old Mike Tyson. These are 24 and 25-year old men going against 20 and 21-year old men. So, I'm not sure that the sports world is going to let Indiana bring the belt out for the national championship game. They're going to want this game to not get out of hand early because that doesn't look good for viewership or their product. So I'm going to look for them to kind of to try to keep it close, but I just feel like that age gap for Indiana has been a difference for them this season. They just have a roster full of 4-year players and like a handful of 5-year players, and then even a couple of 6-year players. So, that's one thing that wasn't talked about with Indiana until we got to the playoffs. It may have been spoken about here and there, but once we got to the playoffs, and then they got to talking about how old Indiana was. Nobody knew, nobody was paying attention to that at the beginning of the year, but Indiana has a team full of players who have already played 4 years of college ball. So, and I believe that's what we're seeing on the field from this team. And I'm picking Indiana, and I'm picking the Big Ten to get it 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm going to read your response, Anthony, before I answer your question. He says, the tempo Miami runs, I compare it to a knockout boxer who accumulates the punches throughout the fight, like an Oscar De La Hoya or Roberto Duran. He said, they're not going to knock you out with one punch, but their output punch-wise is going to wear you down. By the 12th round, you're tired already. And then he also says, I hate the narrative that Indiana is one of the greatest teams of all time. They're compared to the 2019 LSU team, the 2023 Georgia team, and the 2001 Hurricanes and the 1995 Nebraska team. Man, I kind of wish you would have threw in that 2005 Texas team too. Throw them in there real quick. And But anyway, I think what you're onto a really good point, because we know that Miami is one of those teams who the kind of style of play that they play, they're trying to wear you down with their offensive line. They're trying to wear down your offensive line with their defensive line, which is two advantages they might have slightly in this game. I think that Indiana is really, really disciplined. They are not going to make a lot of mistakes. And the way you're going to have to beat them is the way you're talking about. You got to wear them down, but you can't afford to make mistakes. They can't have pre-snap penalties and all that other stuff. They got to play sound execution as well, because Indiana's not going to make a lot of mistakes. But I think they can wear Indiana down to the point where late in the game, they could squeeze this thing out. Of course, I'm going to be on the other end of this thing because I do not want to see the Big Ten win 3 in a row. They already have taken over as probably the best conference because of winning the last 2 championships in college football. I'm an SEC guy. I don't want to see the Big Ten win another one. I'm going with the U. Let's go, Miami. Get that win. And I don't think that the world wants to see that Miami team not win this game. I think they're a team of destiny, a team that was on the outside looking in. The lowest ranked team that's still in this championship game at 10. The only 2 teams behind them were a group of 5 teams. I think that Miami has a chance to correct the shit, man, and win this thing. And I hope they do tomorrow. But I'm not taking anything away from Indiana. They are probably the best team in college football this year. Well, I ain't going to say probably. They are the best team in college football this year. They just might not win this game tomorrow.
You know, I haven't heard anybody say, and I'm glad that Anthony put that out there, because of course we don't hear everything, and I haven't been all the way locked in with everything. But to say that Indiana is one of the greatest teams that we've seen in college football in a long time is crazy to me. I don't even think that they're in a conversation. I just believe that they caught college football at a great time this year, and this is going to be really, really hard for Indiana to duplicate. I do believe, because you see their formula is to go out and find the oldest guys, most experienced guys that they can. And so they're definitely going to have to take advantage of that this year. They're nowhere. They're not in a conversation for any of these great teams. I don't think they have a chance. Like, I don't even think they have a chance against the Buckeye team from last year. So, nor the Michigan team from the year before. And neither one of those teams were on that list as teams that they were compared to. So, no, I'm not going that far. But and I'm not going as far to say that Miami is this big, giant, aggressive team. I mean, they could have lost either one of those playoff games, but they didn't. They didn't make the mistakes that the other team made, and we all know whoever makes the most mistakes is most likely going to win, and whoever makes that first mistake has a really, really great chance of losing, as you saw when Ohio State played Miami and saying through that pick six. So we know turnovers win games, and I'm going with the Big Ten in the eye, and I'm sorry that you feel the way you feel, Rob, and you are only going for the U because you don't want the Big Ten to get 3 in a row, but I'm not sure that y'all going to be able to stop this Big Ten train that's coming to college football. We've shown that our teams are the best teams in college football now, and Indiana is the best in the Big Ten. So I can't wait for tomorrow to get here. So let's go, Indiana. Let's go, Big Ten.
You about to say something, Post?
Yeah, I was just gonna chime in on Indiana being one of the greatest teams of all time. I don't believe they're one of the greatest teams of all time. I think they're a little bit overstated and exaggerated when you compare them to other great teams because their story is so beautiful. Them coming from nowhere, being a basketball program, Signetti coming and bringing his guys from JMU, them getting the older guys in the portal, and the run that they've been on this past season and even last year. I think that's overstated, and people are exaggerating their great team. Don't get me wrong; this is a really good Indiana team, but to compare this team to the greatest teams in college football history, I just think people need to pump the brakes.
This is a very underrated point that he mentioned here about this weather and the fact that it's going to be 85 degrees, 25% humidity, which means on the field it's going to be more like 102. And I remember when we took a team from Columbus, Ohio, down to Florida to play in Pop Warner for the Pop Warner National Championship game, man. And our players got down there and got in that humidity and stuff, man, and they didn't handle it well. So will that have an effect on Indiana coming from this climate up here in the Midwest down there to that humidity? Maybe they'll get down there early enough to where they get acclimated to it, but that could have an effect in this game because you've been up here breathing this cold weather. Now you go down there breathing that humidity. It can have an effect on you because I've seen it have a major effect on our little league team when they went down there for Pop Warner many years ago when my son played little league football, and it was you could tell the difference between the Florida players who play down there all year round and the Midwest teams that went down there to play. It had a tremendous effect on them. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll have to wait and see. But that's a really good underrated point that you made, Anthony.
I say that it won't. You know, as you stated, the weather's going to be 85 degrees, so it's going to be beautiful. I don't think that it's going to. I don't think that it's going to feel like much more than that. I think it's going to still stick around that 85. You know, maybe 87, 88 tops, and I think Indiana's going to feel refreshed and feel really good to be in that warm weather because you know we from the Midwest. When we get to some warm weather in December and in January, that feel real good to us, and it's like we're solar panels, and it energizes us. So I'm going to look for Indiana to thaw out once they get down there to Miami and just go ham as if they were some bears coming out of hibernation, and not ham as in to blow them out, but to do whatever they want to do on that football field. So I don't think the weather is going to have anything to do with that game. And as I've stated, these are old men. Half of these dudes would already be retired from the NFL after their 3 years. So no, I don't think it's going to bother them any.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see on that. He also was talking about Darian Mensah, who is jumped in the transfer portal. We know his destination is going to be Miami, and they're going to pay him that big money to do so. We all agree that that's probably the team. Well, we agree that that's the team that got him to jump into the portal. So he'll be their quarterback next year, which we all know that they needed a quarterback with Carson Beck going on to the NFL after this game tomorrow. That's a really good pickup. He's a really good quarterback. We saw what he was able to do this season and what he did in that bowl game and in their championship game against Virginia. So that's a really good pickup for Miami. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but we know that that's where his destination is going to be. So thanks for bringing that up as well. And he also mentioned that in that Ole Miss game, that Miami made a lot of mistakes in that game that allowed Ole Miss to be in that game with them as well. I think that Miami has a really good chance to win this game. They may not win it. We have to wait and see, of course, because the game has to be played. But I think they got a good chance, as good a chance of winning as Indiana does. And I think that they're going to win. They're going to win it. I'm going with the U tomorrow to win that game in a close one. I think my score prediction yesterday was 27-24.
27-24 Indiana. That sound about. I
said Miami, bro. I said Miami, bro. Let's say good morning to our man,
Boss Big.
He said, keep the Gunnell family in our prayers.
All day, bro.
We'll definitely do that for sure. His family was one of the families that grew up in the neighborhood with us, and he has children with one of the Noakes girl. Where their family has one of their sons has children with one of the Noak family young ladies. So definitely got prayers out for them.
Salute Mossberg.
Yeah, we agree with you, Anthony. That ACC tiebreaker was the dumbest stuff ever when you got a freaking, what was it? They were 7-5. Duke making it to the ACC championship game against Virginia. We thought that it should have been Miami and Virginia, but of course the ACC rules are what they are, and Duke ended up making a game, but they ended up winning it too. So maybe they deserve to be there because they beat Virginia. But we definitely believe Miami should have been there, and he got it 27-19 Miami.
Hey,
So
but look, had Miami played that extra game, their outcome could be completely different. We have to remember that extra game matters in more ways than just winning a conference championship. You look at Ohio State. Ohio State played Michigan. And if you know anything about Ohio State-Michigan game, you're not feeling that well body-wise when you come up out of there. And then they have to go and play a well-rested Indiana team. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. So Miami they did Miami a favor by not having them in that conference championship game. I would prefer to never play in the conference championship game again.
Yeah, Mossberg, if you can, man, put it in the chat what happened so that we can be more informed on what happened with the Gunnell family. So put it in our chat in our text group, because I would like to know what's going on to see how I can help. But yeah, T1, I mean, though that game is a game that could have made this thing look differently for Miami had they played in it. We all know that sometimes that extra game can really mess up your team, or it can help them sometimes too. But I definitely agree it could have been a different outcome if they did. No, I don't think anybody outside of Ole Miss has scored more than 20 points on that Miami's defense. Down the back stretch, Miami, after they corrected their issues against SMU and Louisville, they've been playing some really, really good football. We can't deny that. They've been playing really, really lights out. But we're about to wrap this show up, y'all. We're right at an hour and 22 minutes. So we're going to wrap this thing up. T1, take us out.
Hey, y'all, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to subscribe to everything down there at the bottom. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We love each and every one of you who dropped something down there in the comments, because we need for the audience to talk back to us. So, hey, y'all, we appreciate y'all. Y'all know the deal. We was in the building. Now we up out of here. Peace, y'all. I love y'all, fellas.
Love you too,
Peace.
bro.
Much love to y'all.
All right.